Here they are, guys, your bonus episode of Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball, the 10 most added players across all of fantasy hoops, and whether or not you guys should want them on your teams as well. I'm Dan Bespris. You can find me on Twitter at Dan Bespris. I know, difficult. DANBESBRIS. Hit that like button while you're settling in. Definitely subscribe. Definitely do that. That's the most easy thing to do, and you can do it with the click of a button. Follow our friends over at FanDuel and the FanDuel Sportsbook, as well as the Believe network of podcasts that is a very lucky place to have now. Stuff It Kingy Show as part of their library. Here are the 10 most added players in fantasy basketball today. This show being recorded late on Friday and then airing first thing on Saturday morning. Number 1 is Jericho Sims. Number 2 is his teammate, Bobby Portis. A lot of bucks on this list, by the way. Number 3, Ryan Nembhard. Number 4, Maxime Raynaud. Number 5, Naji Marshall. Number 6 is Jordan Walsh. DeAnthony Melton slides in at number 7. Kevin Porter Jr. and AJ Green, 8 and 9. There's 2 more bucks. And number 10 is Kyle Filipowski. The next 10 names on the list, just in case you guys are curious, Dominick Barlow's at 11, then Noah Clowney at 12, Malik Monk, after a big one, slides in at number 13, Jaden Ivey at 14, Collin Gillespie and Grayson Allen 15 and 16. Presumably they got dropped because Phoenix was off for a while, but those guys should have been on rosters. Vince Williams at 17, Neemias Queta 18, Steven Adams 19, and Jaime Jaquez number 20. Since we're not going to get to talk about 11 through 20, just a couple of quick thoughts on these guys before we get back to the first 10. Dominick Barlow, in my opinion, is a guy that profiles as a very high-level streamer with some defensive stats potential. He's an extraordinarily high-floor guy, which makes him very safe for all formats, but also hard for me to say, yes, you need to play this guy against a games cap because there's not a ton of upside there. Noah Clowney should be played right now, especially while he's running hot. I think he ends up as a great head-to-head guy and maybe not the world's greatest roto guy. Malik Monk, it seems like you can probably play him until Dennis Schroeder comes back. I wasn't sure that there would be enough there, but lately it seems like there has been. Jaden Ivey, he's in the ramp-up period if you want him head-to-head only. Collin Gillespie and Grayson Allen should be on all rosters right now, especially with Devin Booker still out. Vince Williams Jr. should be played until Ja Morant comes back, although it sounds like Ja is relatively close, so the timeline there is not long. Neemias Queta should be rostered in all formats. Steven Adams is a rebounds play only, although Alperen Şengün is questionable for the game that the Rockets have, so maybe that changes over the next few hours. And then Jaime Jaquez Jr., it'll have already happened by the time you watch this show. Tyler Hero is getting imaging done, so Jaquez probably back on the maps as a potential punt threes play. Let's talk about the initial 10, though. First thing is Jericho Sims. I think we can even zoom in a little bit more since we're just going to be talking about one player at a time. Jericho Sims is coming off a very large ball game his last time out, but Miles Turner got himself involved in a little scuffle. He wasn't playing particularly well. Sims was part of a unit of Bucks that made a big run to beat Detroit. Ended up getting a really nice win. Sims was a plus 12. Miles Turner was a minus 13 in the ball game. I don't think that they're about to just pull the plug on the guy they gave a ton of money to in the offseason, so I'm not picking up Jericho Sims unless this happens again. I think I can move pretty quick on him. Number 2 is Bobby Portis, who is admittedly a bit more of a head-to-head guy than Roto, and I know it's weird for me to get excited about head-to-head guys, but I'm in some head-to-head leagues too. Not a ton of them. But it matters because a lot of you guys are. And for Portis, he's always going to have the issue. And in the last ball game, he played 30 minutes. That was the one where Giannis went down 3 minutes in. 13 points, 9 boards, 5 assists, 2 3-pointers. Normally, he's a decent percentages big man. He's a center that hits threes and scores and rebounds. Doesn't get many defensive stats, but does hit free throws, which is useful out of the center spot. And so I think you're probably looking at, someone that hovers around the top 100, maybe within 20 slots of the top 100 in either direction. And for Roto, that might not be worth it if he's on the wrong side of it. But for head-to-head, let's say you don't need steals or blocks in a given week. And again, something that I don't talk about enough on this show is if you're punting something in head-to-head, it doesn't have to be a long-term punt. It could just be 1 week punt. oh, I didn't need steals this week because I had, I don't know, take, for example, like a couple weeks ago, Jeremiah Fears had whatever it was, like an 8 steal ball game. So your team might not have needed steals out of Bobby Portis. So if you just punted steals for that week, he probably claws inside the top 100. And that's something you can't really do in Roto because everything just accumulates. You either want a stat or you don't. With head-to-head, it's very day-to-day and week-to-week. So I think Bobby Portis is an ad. Again, I think he's a definite ad in head-to-head. I think he's a probable ad in Roto. And that's where I sit on old Bobbert. Number 3 is Ryan Nembhard. He should have been added after his first big ball game. And if he wasn't added after his first big ball game, why on earth wasn't he added after his second big ball game? Like the crazy thing, and I know that roster percentage category is just beyond stupid, but right now, Bobby Portis is rostered in more leagues than Ryan Nembhard. What? Bobby Portis has upside of like top 80. That's a best case scenario for him with Giannis out. If Giannis gets traded, and if anybody else goes with him, or, you know, if Kevin Porter Jr. goes back out or a big man goes out, like, yeah, okay, Miles Turner, you know, there's a way that it gets there. Ryan Nembhard is putting up first round value over the last 2 ball games. You want to talk about upside? That's upside. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not going to stick. He's not going to average 20 points and 12 assists without turning the ball over at all, but he's doing it right at this second. Anyway, Ryan Nembhard obviously needs to be on all rosters. He's top 40 over the last week. He's top 15 over the last 2 ball games. If he's on a waiver wire in any league that you're in, hey-oh, you're playing in a foolish league. He's number 6 over the last 2 games. 22 and 12, 4 boards, 3.5 threes on 75% shooting with a half a turnover. That's nuts. That's like best years of Chris Paul's existence type of intermittent bursts. Yeah, it's obviously going to come back down. Okay, I'm not trying to sell you a bill of goods on that, but he looks like the right fit right now. He's getting Anthony Davis the ball at the right time. He's getting Naji Marshall, Cooper Flagg, the ball, Klay Thompson even, the ball at the right time. That's how you get those assists. It's not just from existing, because Brandon Williams would have averaged 11 assists if it was just from existing, or D'Lo would have averaged 11 assists just from existing. You got to be making the right play. Now, the reason he's 4 stars and not 5 would be the absolute pinnacle, is Kyrie Irving, if he comes back, would obviously take his job. And if he cools down because he's a rookie, which he probably will, expectation is that he's not going to hold for all that long. Maxime Raynaud. He is a Sacramento Kings 3rd-string center who suddenly became the Sacramento Kings 2nd-string center. I'm Ron Burgundy. It's hard to know. The Kings are trying everything. It's a handful of darts, firing at the wall. He doesn't have the greatest fantasy game because he doesn't rebound all that much out of the center spot. He doesn't get that many defensive stats out of the center spot. But he's coming off one very good ball game where he shot the ball well, which that he's done so far this year. And so he scored more because he got 11 shots up and he even blocked a shot. Ooh. He's big. You hope that he'll block something, but I wouldn't count on more than like 0.7 even in a full-time starter's role. So I don't think there's a ton of upside here. I will pick him up if he takes the starting job away from Drew Eubanks, which may or may not happen. And maybe it happens by the time you guys see this. No. They don't play on Friday night. Kings are off. When the hell do they play? Are they on Saturday? ? They are. So they play later on Saturday. So that's when we'll get our next little piece of information. Prior 2 games, Raynaud played 22 and 23 minutes, which is definitely not enough for him. It's got to be in the 30s. And so I need that starting job if I'm going to advocate making this kind of move. Naji Marshall is number 5. He should have been added the second PJ Washington went down, and it's why you guys can beat people at fantasy basketball, because Naji Marshall is still being added 3 games into this run, and PJ is going to be back soon. I think he's still out. I think he got ruled out for Friday right before I did this one. They have a back-to-back Friday, Saturday, and then you get into NBA Cup weirdness. He's played 37, 33, and 36 minutes in his last 3 ball games. He gets points, boards, assists, steals on good percentages. I don't know what I have to Do I have to sell you guys on Naji? He's top 30 since PJ Washington went down. That's not bad. 15 points, 7 boards, 4 assists, 1.5 threes, 1.5 steals, 58% from the field. He's made, what is he at, 11 straight free throws or something like that? That'll play. I may have goofed on the number of free throws. No, it's 11 in a row. Yeah, I got that right. So yeah, I mean, he's a great fill-in ad, and he's another guy who's available in a bunch of spots. I'm a little surprised by it, including spots where I could have picked him up. What have I done? Did he get dropped? He must have gotten dropped, because I know I checked for him midweek and he wasn't there. But there he is. I'm putting him on my list right now. Because what if PJ misses another one on Saturday? A sprained ankle from stepping on a ball during warmups. Oh, well, what are you going to do? Number 6 is Jordan Walsh, who is coming off a very large ball game on Thursday night. Mind you, there was no Jaylen Brown, so everybody got a little bit of a usage bump. And Walsh basically threw a perfect game. He missed a free throw, but he went 8 for 8 from the field. The things you're going to get out of Jordan are rebounds, steals, and blocks. That you can rely on. If he plays 30 minutes, he's going to get you rebounds, steals, and blocks. The other stuff is possibly never going to happen again. I certainly wouldn't count on it. Sounds like Jaylen Brown is going to be back for the Lakers-Celtics game on Friday. Again, you guys will know the results of that before I do here. But my thought on Walsh is extraordinarily high results streamer. So get him into lineups in head-to-head leagues when the schedule is even kind of okay. And if you're making a run at defensive stats, he may float over into a specialist bucket for Roto at some point, but not yet. And I mean, who knows? He might have another big one against the Lakers, because Lakers are down everybody in this one. Again, you guys know the results of this game already, so bear in mind I'm recording before that ball game happens. I would think that Walsh has a decent game, but I truly don't know. But as I wrote here on Twitter, if the schedule is at 50% games or better, he's a solid enough head-to-head stream. Friends, a reminder, this show is brought to you by our buddies over at FanDuel and the FanDuel Sportsbook. I need you guys to hit that like button. I need you guys to subscribe to the show, however you're taking it in. That is how we grow Old Man Squad. That is the fastest way, believe it or not, faster than the 99 cents for me to get to where I need to get financially, is more viewers, more listeners that see those advertisements, because then it snowballs. You get more advertisers, you get more sponsors. So that is a way that we can then hopefully wipe out the 99 cent stuff. In the meantime, you're like, what's the 99 cent stuff? Everybody that knows this show knows already. I have a Patreon and a YouTube membership. It's the same thing. It gets you a little bit of access to me. The YouTube membership allows you to post on shows and have me see it. I guess you can post on shows regardless, but I generally won't see it. Over at Patreon, you can send me a note. If you have a fantasy question, I'll probably get around to it within a day or so of when you throw it out there. So it's not outstanding access, but it's better than nothing. And more than anything, the 99 cents is to keep everything I do free for everybody. So the Google Sheet with all the master list and all the thoughts and everything and all the tweets and all the shows, that's what you're supporting with the 99 cents. So thank you in advance for those that have already done it. Thank you to those that are considering it. Like, rate, subscribe. Let's talk about number 7, DeAnthony Melton. And I wrote a full paragraph on Melton over on Twitter. Here's the thing. I'm a bit torn on Melton. We know he's not going to play in back-to-backs probably all year, if I had to guess. He's coming back from a pretty significant injury. So that makes him probably impossible for me to sell to you guys in head-to-head. You know, the Warriors have a weekend back-to-back. He's not going to play in one of those 2 games. They're in Cleveland. They're in Chicago. He'll pick one. He's not going to play in both. I feel very confident of that. But I love DeAnthony Melton, and it took him 1 ball game to remind everybody why I love DeAnthony Melton. He had 14 points, 3 assists, 2 steals, a block, 4 out of 4 at the free throw line. Didn't even make a 3-pointer, and he's still, like, you do that, you get 3 defensive stats, which he wouldn't do, but he piles up fantasy stats. He does. That's just what he's always done. Steals, threes, assists. He doesn't score all that much. I guess that is a little bit of a cap on it. So we wipe him off the head-to-head board, meaning that, 80 to 90% of you guys that are watching this or listening to this podcast, you're like, well, why the hell are we talking about him? So there might be a stretch in there for head-to-head leaguers where the Warriors, let's say, go every other day for like 9, 11 days in a row. Let's see. We can look at their schedule. There's a spot. January 15th all the way to January 28th. They play every other day for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. So that's a spot where presumably, I was looking at Detroit. Gosh, darn it. Golden State does it like 2 weeks earlier. It's the same general idea, though. January 5th to January 17th. Missed it by that much. But so Melton might play in every single one of those games. And even if he's only getting 23 minutes in head-to-head, that would be worthwhile. In Roto, we're just thinking about what kind of ramp-up this might be. How high can he go on a Warriors team that, now admittedly, Draymond is hurt, and Jimmy Butler's hurt, and Steph is out for a week. Like, that obviously changes the trajectory a little bit. But let's say those guys come back not too far from now. How many minutes could DeAnthony Melton possibly accrue when you got all those guys? Butler, Steph, Draymond are obviously starters. And then you've got Podziemski, Moody, Seth Curry, who they brought in, Will Richard, Buddy Hield, Pat Spencer, Gary Payton, Jonathan Kuminga. I didn't even mention Quentin Post because he's a big man, or Al Horford because he's sitting every other day also. But there's too many bodies on this team. If Melton's not having a good ball game, which even to a player as good as DeAnthony, it's going to happen, especially coming off a big injury, he's not going to get to play that night. They'll just go to one of these other dudes. So I love Melton, and I'd love to tell you that it's time to go get him. I don't think it's time to go get him. I think we're a little bit ahead of when we might want to consider it. If you're in Roto and you're willing to just squat on him for 2 weeks, then I guess it could work out. But with the NBA Cup coming up and schedule's weird, I think it might be better to just wait. Number 8 is Kevin Porter Jr. We can keep this one brief. This guy should have been rostered everywhere. I don't know why he wasn't. How on earth he's available in enough leagues where he's getting added now is crazy. I guess because he was hurt for a while, that's probably the excuse. But he should be rostered in all leagues everywhere, and we don't need to talk more about that. AJ Green is a tough one for me because AJ Green is like the prototypical guy that I need to be kinder towards. Because right now, he is flaming hot, like scalding inferno level hot. And for years, I've come on the show and I'm like, guys, we can't. Like, the bottom's going to fall out. And when it does, it's going to be brutal. But that's a Roto mindset. That's someone who's like, I got to think about whether or not using this guy against the games cap is actually going to be worth it. The head-to-head mindset says you got to be playing him right now. He's one of the hottest players in fantasy basketball. Why am I not playing him in my head-to-head league? Well, because I'm treating it more like a Roto league. So I got to fix that. And I'm trying to over the last 2-ish seasons in particular on the pod. So hopefully you guys have noticed that slight change in my approach. Because right now, over the last 4 games, AJ Green is averaging 16 points on 57% shooting with 5 3-pointers a game. You guys can do the math. By the way, he's at 0.8 free throws per game during that stretch, and he's made all of them. He hasn't missed one yet, but it's only 3 out of 3 at the free throw line. But again, if you're averaging 16.3 points per game and 5 3-pointers a game, only 1 point from that is not coming from 3-pointers. Less, half a point, because 0.8 is coming at the free throw line. Literally, 15.5 points are coming from non-free throws, and 15 of those are coming from downtown on 9.3 shots per game, and he's shooting 57%. You guys want to do the math on that? This dude literally takes every shot from three-point land. Like, he never takes a 2. He's taking between 9 and 10 shots a game, and he's shooting 57%, and he's making 5 3-pointers a game over that stretch. 5 out of 9 is 56%. Like, that's all of them. He took 11 shots in his last ball game. One of them was a 2-pointer. In his last 4 games, 5 games? In his last 5 games, this is like an unbelievable stat. In those games, as we've said, he's averaging 5 3-pointers a game. Actually, that's over his last 4. 20 3-pointers in his last 4 games. 1 shot in those 4 games was not a 3-pointer. 1. How many were 3s? 17, 24, 36. 36 3-point attempts. He's made 20 of them. And he missed a 2. Nope, excuse me. He made the 2-pointer. Hey, attaboy. Before that, he did have a game where he took 2 2-pointers, which was crazy. So it's all 3s right now, and he is making all of them. Like, listen, he's a great 3-point shooter. I'm not going to take that away from Green. But he's at 50% on high volume right now. From downtown. 50% on 7 threes a game and rising. So the thought process there is you play him because if he's going to take 9 3-pointers a game and he's going to make half of them, 4.5 threes doesn't grow on trees. But at some point, even the best 3-point shooters typically come back down towards 40. And if that starts to happen, you start to see the volume trickle down a little bit. There isn't a whole lot else going on with Green's fantasy game. So, stream while hot. And finally, Kyle Filipowski, whose minutes were actually trending up even before this Jusuf Nurkic rib injury started appearing on radars. And Filipowski is and we haven't seen it really yet so far this year because he's at 46% from the field and 71 at the free throw line. But he's a big man who can actually help percentages, which is cool. Those guys also don't grow on trees. Thinking back to like the end of last year. End of last year, he was at 50% from the field, and the free throw was not as good as the memory might suggest. But if Filipowski starts to get that starting job back and the minutes come with it, then he would belong on rosters longer term. Right now, I just like the fact that he's getting center minutes. That's the key. Power forward minutes, not as good for him. Center minutes, much, much better. So if Nurkic misses another game and he's questionable, again, you guys will already know whether he missed it by the time you watch this show. When he misses games, Filipowski's the guy. I've been talking about him on the show since Walker Kessler went down because I was like, look, Nurk, not only is he not going to last from a health standpoint all season long, Utah's not going to want to play Nurk all season long. At some point, they're going to be like, all right, Jusuf, you're an old goat. Let's see what we got in Filipowski, who's, about to turn 25. Can we develop this dude into something more? And when that happens, we're going to want to be all over it. But it hasn't happened yet. Right now, it's a short-term thing. I like Filipowski as an ad if Nurk misses another ball game, but otherwise, you likely leave him alone. And that's that. So if you want to know more about these guys, you can also go over to the Google Sheet, which, again, linked in the show description. There it is, guys. That's my massive bucket board of every damn player, basically, in the NBA and where they belong in ranking all the way across. Here's all the all formats guys down near the end because that's the big one. Look at all those names. I went through the first 300 players in fantasy and I slotted everybody in that I thought belonged either on rosters or even close to being on rosters. So that was a heavy lift. Make sure to check that out if you have any questions about where I have guys slotted. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Like, rate, subscribe. This was your Saturday bonus episode of Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball. You can find me on Twitter at Dan Bespris. You can follow the show feed at Old Man Squad. But again, the most important thing is to subscribe. The second most important thing is to check out our buddies at FanDuel. That's not true. That's like the fourth most important thing. Second most important thing is if you have 99 cents, that actually does certainly help the cause. But I'd honestly rather you guys just follow on Twitter, subscribe, and keep helping us spread the word. Let's grow this thing. Let's make sure that I want to be the second biggest show in fantasy basketball. And I think on the pod side, we may be already. But I want to get there on the YouTube side also. It's harder. Gotta float right into that algorithm. Appreciate you guys. Enjoy your weekend. We'll try to get a preview show coming up on Sunday. There should be some time. I think my kids have something on Sunday morning that gets them out of here. We'll see. Hugs and kisses.